Nathan has a certain number of days before his history final exam. He wants to study every chapter in his history book before the final exam. If he studies 3 chapters a day, he will leave 15 chapters unfinished. If he studies 5 chapters a day, he will only have 2 chapters to study on the last day. How many chapters are in his history book? Alright, well, first thing I see is that we don't know how many days he has before this history final exam. And if we knew that, it would be really easy to figure out what the number of chapters in his book was, right? Because if he studies 3 chapters a day for n days, then he has 15 left over that he can't finish before the test, right? Not a good situation. We want him to study all of his chapters, okay? And this would tell us the number of chapters in the book, right? So 3 times the number of days plus 15 more that he doesn't have time to study gives us the total number of chapters in the book. And the second statement here that says that if he studies 5 chapters a day, he'll have 2 chapters to study on the last day. So what that tells us is that if we took, so for the first few days, except for the last day, so it's if I let n be the number of days before his history final, then every day but the last day he studies 5 a day, right? So one less than the number of days plus 2 the last day, and that would also equal the number of chapters in his history book. Okay, so both of these statements here, 3n plus 15 and 5 times n minus 1 plus 2, should equal the number of chapters in his history book, and they should be equal, right? So if we just set up this little algebraic equation and solve for n, that'll give us the number of days that he has left to study. Of course, that's not what they ask for. They ask for the number of chapters in his book. So, but if we knew that number of chapters, or number of days, sorry, that he has left to study, we could easily find the number of chapters in his book. Okay, so let's do that. Let's solve for the number of days that he has to study. So, so this is just 3n plus 15, and I can take this other side and I can distribute the 5 within the parentheses, and so that's 5n minus 5 plus 2, okay, which is just, this part here obviously is just a minus 3. And then, okay, I'm saying a 5n over here and a 3n over here. Let's combine like terms, and I want to subtract 3n from both sides. So I'm doing that rather than subtracting 5n from both sides because I like positive numbers, and so 3n minus 3n is just 0. And what we have over here is 2n. Okay. Now we have a minus 3 here and 15 over here. So if I were to add 3 to both sides, then I get rid of the constant terms on the right side, and I have all the constant terms on the left side. So 15 plus 3 is 18. Okay. And all I'm left with on this side, when I take minus 5 plus 2 plus 3, that's just 0. So I end up with this equation. 2n is 18. So then I can find that n is equal to 9. And that's the number of days that he has left to study. So we're not done yet, because we want to know how many chapters he has in his history book. So, but like I said before, if we knew the number of days, we could figure that out either by substituting into this equation or this equation. Alright, so we know that if he studied 3 chapters a day for 9 days, he would have 15 chapters left over. Right? So that's 27 plus 15, and that's equal to 42 chapters. Okay? Now we could also substitute that 9 into the other side. So we'd have 5 times 8, right? And minus 1 is 8, plus 2, and again we'd get 42 chapters. Okay? So sometimes it's just a matter of wishful thinking. You know, you can think, if I knew the number of days, I could figure this out easy enough. So let's just make that a variable, n, okay, and then we'll just use that, see if we can figure out what n is, and then we can solve what we're looking for. So the answer is there are 42 chapters in his history exam, in his history book.